What's going to change? This is the perfect time for us to make some changes. As we're opening up our worlds again and beginning to step out again, can we also open up our hearts more with a new kind of love and concern for those around you? Hi, I'm Kimberly Bengali. Welcome to my channel, True Stature. It's the place to be to create a life you love, fueled by your personal truth. Recently, I heard a great man say that when you meet someone, treat them as if they're in serious trouble, and you'll be right at least half the time. And then he went on to say that in his experience, that was not only right, but it was usually a low estimation. I'm not telling you anything you don't know already when I say that our world is increasingly feeling like it's in more commotion. From worldwide pandemic to political unrest to all sorts of divisions and great injustices that are happening right front and center in our news. And it's been a reality check for all of us as we've been sitting around our houses thinking, how is our life going to be when this is all over? When this is officially over, how will our life be? And I think we all know it's not going to be the same as it ever was before. I challenge you to join me in the idea that the thing that really needs to change is us. Now, specifically today, I'm actually referring to how we behave in our lives towards other people. To illustrate why I say this, I'm going to use an example from my life. So my husband and I own a cafe here in Ashland, Oregon, right on top of a bookstore, a really quaint little coffee shop and cafe. And we are having the time of our lives. But with the COVID-19, we had to close for 2 months. And then when we finally started reopening, we had to take it very slowly and follow very specific guidelines given by the government, obviously to keep people safe. My husband and I were talking about things we might want to change in the cafe. This is a great time if we want to revamp the menu, or this is a great time to change some of the decor, or this is a great time to reconsider how we do our events and our advertising, or whatever it is. The point is, it's been a great time to stop and think. My question for you is, as we've been sitting around our houses these last few months, what kind of thoughts have you been having about how possibly you could change when you open up for business? When you, as a person, open back up and begin your life again, being who you are, what changes do you want to make? What revamping do you want to have done so that you're making a better difference out there in the world? Because we all know from what we've been seeing in the news that something's got to change, and it needs to be us. It needs to be us. I'm coming to you asking you to join me in an earnest and sincere effort to change how we behave to those around us, not just in our families, but in our communities, in the world at large. How do we behave towards other people? Do we show that we care? Can we be a compassionate person from here on out? Can we work to have greater empathy, to try and see things from where somebody else might be standing in their shoes, to the best of our abilities? And if we can't see things from their perspective, at the very least, understand that they have a right to have those feelings and that they need to be heard. This is a wonderful time in our lives to regroup, to recalibrate how we behave. So if you're feeling unrest because everything's in commotion, I'm telling you, this is the perfect time for us to make some changes. It's the perfect time. I had an interesting experience the other day. I came across an acquaintance whom I really don't know very well. We've had a couple of conversations, but her family had done something nice for my family, so I took them a card and a gift to thank them. And when I got there, the dear woman just broke down in tears and told me of the struggle she's been having over the last couple of years, and she's really in the thick of it right now. I would never have known this just from our daily interactions when we say hi or hello or how are you? I never would have known that she had such a deep and painful struggle going on in her life. And she shared with me things that I could get and understand because some of them were similar to things that I had experienced. And so I was able to listen. But my reason for bringing this up is that I never would have known. I was so, I'm so in my own world and so taking care of my family and my kids and the things that I'm trying to accomplish in life, that how would I ever see or know that someone was in serious pain and needed a listening ear? Now, the woman was embarrassed and she asked for my forgiveness. She said, "I'm so sorry that I did this." And all I could think of was, thank you. Thank you, and for the honor of being able to hear what you needed to say in that moment. Thank you for trusting me with those feelings that are so deep in your heart. It really got me to thinking about how I'm behaving as a human being. As I go through my daily life and I'm doing my thing and being a mom and a wife and having a business and then starting a YouTube channel and just trying to learn and grow and take courses to get better at things so that I can do better on my business and all these things. And I have to question and say, am I so caught up in the ego-driven, self-help world and trying to become the very best I can be, the best version of myself, that I'm not noticing or recognizing when there is a need right around my corner? And I think we have different phases in our lives. In some parts of our lives, we are more outward focused. And in some parts of our lives, we are more inward focused. And I want to admit something. So when my boys, I have five children. When my 4 older boys were the only kids I had, and I was in another marriage, and I used to take them to do Meals on Wheels. We would go take food to the elderly people in our town, and we would volunteer to do that. And then other times we would do special projects for veterans on Veterans Day and visit them in the hospitals, and the kids would make projects. And I tried really hard to teach the children that serving and loving others was an important part of their daily and weekly lives. And then came a crazy part of my life where then there was a divorce and like chaos and then me licking my wounds and trying to recover and just very inward focused. So much focus on trying to be okay with everything that happened that I stopped thinking of other people. And I got out of that habit. So more recently, I am making the decision that it's time with my now I have a daughter, and she's at that age where she's still able to learn the important life lessons that I can teach her as her mother. And one of those would be serving and giving of her time and her efforts and energy to people in need, because to do that shows connection and shows that she cares. And that's my goal. And so as this new life begins after COVID, my goal is to teach my child through my example, like I did with my other children, that service and love is where it's at. Now, as our communities are opening up slowly but surely, they're calling it phase 1, and they have certain guidelines for phase 1, right? And then phase 2 is a little more lenient on what we can and cannot do. And my clever little spin on that is, how about the next phase is phase U? I know that's corny, but just to make a point, what if it's all about changing what needs to be changed in your heart, whatever you are holding on to that keeps you from reaching out to others and focusing outward, changing that? What kind of an awesome phase would that be? That's the phase where you come with a fresh perspective back into life, back into the mainstream with a new kind of love and concern for those around you. And I'm saying you, but I mean us, because I told you I had lost that kind of service-driven life because of my own stuff. So I too am working on this. This is where we can introduce how we will be from here on out. How will we go forward and benefit the lives of those around us? It's really quite exciting, and the possibilities are wonderful. Everyone has their own battle that they're fighting. There's a quote I love that goes, I don't actually know who originally said this quote, but it's been one of my favorites for a long time. And it's this: we're all just walking each other home. We're all just walking each other home. So in this new phase what are some things you can do? I would love to see it in the comments below. How can you look for opportunity to make a difference? To stop being so focused on what's in our own little worlds and be more outward focused. When we look for ways to serve others, not only do we help them with their needs, but our problems and our struggles are put in a more fresh perspective. And it benefits our lives as well as those whom we serve. And here's another quote I love: when we concern ourselves with others, there is less time to be concerned with ourselves. One of the miracles of service is that in serving others and in losing ourselves in others, we find ourselves. Friends, I can tell you that during the years when I was so focused on trying to heal and trying to recover from a broken marriage and a broken home, that I forgot to serve other people. I became so engrossed with myself and my situation. You know, we all have gifts and we all have ways that we can shine, and we all have that certain something about us that we can bring to the table when it comes to loving others. Because service might just be a smile. It might just be helping somebody take their groceries across the street. It might be listening to someone who you don't know very well kind of vent for a little while and hearing what they're saying. So it's service, it's love, it's compassion, it's empathy. It's all those things that we can do now in this next phase. As we're opening up our worlds again and beginning to step out again, can we also open up our hearts more? Can we make the efforts needed to make the changes that are so necessary right now? I believe we can. I believe we can, and I'm excited to do my part. And I will fall short. There will be days when I will feel selfish and I will just want to focus on what I want to do. But there's going to be those crystal clear, beautiful moments when someone whom I don't really know opens up her heart and I was able to listen and hear it. And those are the moments that are going to make the biggest difference. Hopefully my listening to her helped her. But in listening to her and her pains, I was reminded of the struggle that we all have, not just me. The struggle that we share of living this life and the pains that come along with it, and the sorrows and the injustices. And we have the capacity to make a difference. We have the capacity to change. And that is an amazing place to be. So I ask you to join me in looking for opportunities to love, to serve, and looking for opportunities to remember that those people that we can touch and those lives that we can touch can be forever changed because of little small things that we do. If you think that this is something that you can share, then feel free to share this video. And of course, if you like it, give it a thumbs up. As always, subscribe in the links below if you like what you're hearing here. But today, most important, just find somebody to love and love them in whatever way you can, even if it's just saying hello with a smile, a real smile. Take the mask off and give them a smile. Thank you for sticking around for the entire video. This time around, this was probably one of the more important messages I've given so far. Take care of yourselves and take care of the people around you. I will see you next week. Bye!